What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the No Fun League. Today we are doing our Week 2 power rankings. And once again, just like last week, this is only based off weeks 1 and 2. I am not considering roster or my expectations for these teams going into the season. So, very well, you could see a team like the Baltimore Ravens, at like 28, 29, theoretically, in my system. And you can see a team that's won 2 games like the LA Chargers at number 1. It just depends on how you have performed against the other teams that you have played so far this season, and it will be like that the entire season. So let's get started. The Carolina Panthers are still the worst team in the NFL. They were 32nd last week. They are 32nd again this week. It sucks that they benched Bryce Young. I understand why. I personally would have played him and coached him through the struggles if I'm Dave Canales and I'm supposed to be this huge quarterback whisperer, but it's all right. I get it. Overall, this roster is just bad. This team has played bad. No unit has been good. So 32nd ranked team in the NFL. At 31, the New York Giants. They were ranked 30th last week. They are now 30th or 31st. The fact that you lose a game because your kicker gets hurt in the year 2024, when you can have 15 different contingency plans. We've seen other teams bring out position players to kick. The Chiefs bring out Justin Reed. So the fact that the roster isn't prepared for that, and you waste a generational rookie game from Malik Neighbors, you waste a good Daniel Jones football game. It's just pathetic, honestly, and that's on Brian Daboll, which sucks because I love him. Defensively, this defense sucks. I want Shane Bowen fired, and we're 2 weeks in. Commanders didn't have to punt. You have a rookie quarterback. They didn't make him punt one time this entire game. It's absolutely pathetic. At 30, the Denver Broncos. They were 24th last week. They're 30th this week because the offense, I thought, you're playing a Seattle defense, which is really, really good. It's game 1. Okay, fine. You can struggle. Now, the Steelers defense is really good. It may be better than the Seattle defense, but it's still not an excuse to look just as pathetic, if not worse, on offense. Defense, Pat Surtain is good, but even he was getting cooked by Pickens on some plays. So 30th ranked team. At 29, I have the Tennessee Titans. They were ranked 23rd last week. Will Levis, what are we doing? You have basically cost your team 2 games at this point. And I will say I really, really like Bill Callahan or Brian Callahan, I'm sorry, and what his approach has been to press conferences and stuff and being really honest. Because we all saw the clip off the sideline where he's like, what the fuck are you doing? But I think that's good. I think that's what a rookie quarterback needs, because you can't really sugarcoat the mistakes that Will Levis has made. Because otherwise this team is built to win football games. The roster has shown that it has a lot of talent, and he has the weaponry at running back and wide receiver to help him through his developmental stage. He just needs to stop making dumb decisions. At 28, and this is probably the first team with kind of expectations coming into the season that they're super low. The Jacksonville Jaguars are my 28th ranked team. They were 21st last week. How do you lose to the Browns at home? You're going at Trevor Bank Field or Stadium or whatever the hell it is. How do you lose that game to an offense that looked so bad the first week and didn't really look this good this week? Just dumb shit constantly, being inconsistent constantly. How does Brian Thomas Jr. not get the ball more? He's your first-round pick, and he showed how good he can be in Week 1 in flashes. You blow a 14-point lead in Miami, then you lose at home to a bad Cleveland offense. The defense is good, but disappointing so far from them. At 27, the Indianapolis Colts. They were my 19th ranked team last week. The defense has been absolutely god-awful, and the offense, I think we expected inconsistency from Anthony Richardson, considering it's basically his rookie year, playing-wise. But I didn't expect it to be this bad, and I did not expect a defense led by a veteran defensive coordinator, a former head coach, a guy who's been in the NFL for as long as I've been a fan, in Gus Bradley, to not have a scheme to stop the run when that's all the Packers are going to do. It's so bad. It's just so unbelievably bad how unprepared they looked on defense. At 26, I have the LA Rams. They were 15th last week. Now, the first game against the Lions, coming back, taking the game to overtime, everything like that, phenomenal. Then you get blown out in Arizona by the Cardinals. You have a hard schedule to start the season. More so than anything else, it's injuries. Like, this roster is absolutely decimated. Matt Stafford might be the only healthy, like, top 10 player on their roster left. Everybody else is banged up, and it just sucks to see because this team has so much talent and so much expectations. I thought that they were going to win the division, and now Kupp's gone, Puka's hurt, half their offensive line is hurt. They have a number of injuries defensively as well. It's just a bad situation for them. At 25, I have the Washington Commanders, who were at 25 last week as well. Now, some of y'all might be like, ooh, why aren't they getting a jump? I personally still have a lot of questions about them, and I think that the teams ahead of them are just better teams. You'll see in a second. But those teams have also played better because, not scoring a touchdown against the Giants defense when it's in this state is not an accomplishment. Yeah, you won the game off of 7 field goals, but, it's still not what you want from your team in that situation, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's not what I want from my offense against this bad of a defense right now. So they are 25th because the defense still has a lot of struggles. They made Daniel Jones look good. At 24, I have the Baltimore Ravens, and this is why I say that like my rankings are slightly psychotic. And on these are chaos power rankings, folks. I want it to be as chaotic as possible. I want to see a team go from like 24. Where the Ravens are, I want to see them go from 24th to like 2nd in a week. Just because I think that's how power rankings should be done. It shouldn't be based on, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. They have this insane roster. They start the season at 1 and they go from there. That's why I didn't do a power rankings before any football was played. However, the Ravens are 24th. They were 14th last week. Because, even though they lost, I was encouraged by their performance. But goddamn, blowing a 10-point lead to the Las Vegas Raiders at home, that's just despicable behavior. And in my recap, I said, maybe it's time that we think about John Harbaugh and his job. That's real. But for this roster, for this team right now, you got to tighten up on offense and on defense. None of them look right. And special teams doesn't even look right. You have Justin Tucker missing kicks. Everything's going wrong in Baltimore right now. They are 24th. At 23, I have the Chicago Bears. They were 20th last week. And honestly, it was tough giving them a regression, and it's not because of Caleb Williams, and it's not because of the defense. The biggest problem I saw Sunday night in Houston was their offensive line not being able to handle anything extra that Houston would do. Maybe they block if you're just sending 4 straight up, not running a stunt in or anything. But the second they see a stunt or anything, they're on the ground, and Caleb Williams is getting hit. It was really bad. I felt bad for Caleb Williams. He played pretty good that first half. Second half, all those hits just kept catching up, and then you see him on the sideline looking absolutely exhausted. And once again, quarterback is the hardest job because 90% of humans on Earth, after something like that happens to them, are complaining about their offensive line afterwards. So, quarterback is one of the hardest jobs. Actually, just being on a team professionally is so hard. But their defense is awesome. I think Caleb and the offense will be fine. No Keenan Allen hurts. The offensive line has to get a lot better. But the Bears defense, I think, is actually playing like a top 5 unit right now. And it sucks that they're 0-2. Or they're 1-1 because they won a game because of the defense. At 22, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. They were 29th last week after losing at home to the Patriots. They covered against Kansas City. They looked like the better team for most of the game. Kansas City is a 2-time Super Bowl defending champion for a reason. But, this is encouraging to build off of. Yeah, you're 0-2. You got an easy schedule, though, because you were the 4th place team last year. Let's get into it. Let's start winning some games. I'm not very concerned about the Bengals. At 21, I have the Browns. 31st last week. 21st this week. Just again, Deshaun Watson is your biggest problem area. If he can play like a game-managing quarterback and just, chunk like 25 completions for like 180 yards, I think it was around that. If that happens, you're good with Deshaun Watson. Anything more, anything less, you don't want him doing any more than that at this point in his career, honestly. Which sucks to say, but you really don't. Overall, their defense is still their defense, which is why they're 21st and not lower. And they're gonna win next week because they play the Giants. But like, this team is being held back for his this team is being held back because of Deshaun Watson and his horrible quarterback. And at 20, I have the New England Patriots. Who would have thought that the Patriots would be 20th in power rankings? They win week 1 against Cincinnati. No one thought they'd do that. They held their own against Seattle this week, which I think Kenneth Walker being out was a big part of that. But they played great again. Jerod Mayo has the boys buzzing. Jacoby Brissett looks rejuvenated at quarterback. Just really fun watching them play so far this season. Run the ball, play defense, and make little plays in the margins. Classic New England football, honestly. I get why Jerod Mayo was handpicked by Belichick, the Kraft family, and everybody else in the building to be the replacement. It's looking perfect so far. At 19, I got the Las Vegas Raiders. They were 26th last week. What a win for Gardner Minshew, Devontae, and the rest of the boys. Defensive line played great. I said that the defensive line would need to step up if they were to win this game. They did. They did a great job against Lamar. Offense did what they needed to win the game. Just a good performance overall. 18, the Jets. They were 28th last week. You win a game. Aaron Rodgers was like, oh, technically it's my second because I played in the first game. But y'all know this is basically the first real win of the Aaron Rodgers era, so that's big. And they looked good. The defense looked better. Still not great. You want to see them do more against a young quarterback that's clearly struggling. But, yeah, you know what? Good performance. Run the football. They run the football really well. Some other receiver besides Garrett Wilson needs to do something, though. At 17, I have the Atlanta Falcons. They were 27th last week after that bad performance against Pittsburgh. What a win. It made my night last night. I'm here. I fully expect that the Eagles don't get that first down. So, obviously, I'm a Giants fan. I went to college in Philly. I despise the Philadelphia Eagles. So, I'm watching this game, and I'm like, oh, there's no way that they're not picking up this third down. They're just going to get a third down, win the game. And I'm watching the play develop in real time. Saquon's wide open. I'm like, oh, no. Great for my fantasy team. Not good for, my ego and me as a football fan. He drops the ball. I'm like, fine. I'm like, they'll just get it on something stupid. They'll go for it. They kick their field goal. Atlanta gets it. I'm like, all right, primetime Kirk. The memes. Which hopefully are all dead by now because my boy balled out last night. What a performance by Kirk Cousins in primetime. Put some more respect on Kirk Chains, baby. But, no, I'm like, the Eagles are going to do what they did all of last year. They're just going to pull it out their ass and win this game. But Atlanta said, no, we got this. And even despite Drake London being a dumbass with a celebration afterwards, they were able to get it done and get the win. And, all of their big pieces, Kirk, Pitts made some plays in crunch time. Bijan made some plays all game. Drake London caught the game-winning touchdown. Kirk Cousins was orchestrating everything. And then Jesse Bates, the guy that you paid a lot of money to last season, clinched the game for you. So it's all starting to come together in Atlanta, which is cool. So they are 17. At 16, I have the Dolphins. They were 10th last week. This team is still good. I still have faith in them. They signed Tyler Huntley, who went to the Pro Bowl a couple years ago. So that most likely will be their starting quarterback, while Tua is her. I just put out a video, a TikTok, a YouTube short, about how they should explore trading for Bryce Young. That's a separate issue. But I still have faith in this team. 16th, they looked awful against Buffalo. That was kind of par for the course. But just their performance overall, I think, the Bills games for them are their bugaboo. They still have to figure that out. But they're still a top 50% team in this league, in my opinion. 15, the Dallas Cowboys. Second last week after their win against Deshaun Watson and the Browns. But at home opener, you got everybody sprinting in again, and then you just absolutely shit the bed against Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints and make Derek Carr look like he's the second coming of the 2007 Patriots. Just awful performance from them. Great performance by the Saints. This roster still has a lot of problems, in my opinion. They can't do well unless they get to an early lead. Like, if they're not winning I want to know the Cowboys' stats under Mike McCarthy when they don't have the lead after the fourth quarter versus when they do, or at halftime. That may be a separate video. But Yeah, this team is not capable of winning if they go down 2 touchdowns because the offense can't win from behind and the defense can't do anything unless they're just teeing off Michael Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, which you can't really do if you're losing because the other team doesn't have to pass the ball much because the run defense is trash. Um, at 14, the Eagles, they were ninth last week. They're 14th this week. They did some things really well. They ran the ball really well. The defense made stops. They just fell apart at the end, and it was the same issues of not getting enough passers. This is what they did against Drew Lock last year on primetime on Monday Night Football. You don't get pressure on the quarterback. You sit back. You're trying to play bend but don't break, and death by 1,000 cuts happens, and you lose, and you let them go right down the field to win a game. Which I don't know why they expected it to be so different, because Sean Desai is literally Vic Fangio's boy. He's running his scheme. Why did you think it would be different, especially when you downgrading personnel from Reddick to Bryce Huff? Like, what are we doing? And offensively, run the ball more. Nick Sirianni, take the points. If Nick Sirianni isn't responsible for any play calling duties, what is his role besides to make decisions like that, which have consistently been bad in a broad scope since he got there? At 13, I have the Arizona Cardinals. They were 16th last week. I was really impressed after the Buffalo game, but now they get Marvin Harrison Jr. involved. Kyler Murray looks like an MVP candidate so far this season. Just an absolutely impeccable performance from them at home against the Rams, winning a blowout. Great game from them. At 12, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were 17th last week. Justin Fields looks like a pretty damn good quarterback in this system so far, where he has to make the occasional play. Otherwise, he can game manager it, hand it off to Najee and Jalen Warren a bunch, make your plays when you need to, and let the defense take care of the rest. And that is a winning recipe for the Pittsburgh Steelers. At 11, I have the San Francisco 49ers. They were 6th last week. Another team decimated by injuries. Debo's hurt, McCaffrey's hurt, Hufanga hasn't played yet. Going through a lot. The offensive line wasn't really good to start the season. They did very good against the Jets. I was surprised. But Trent Williams is the only real deal, and he's like ramping up to game shape because he didn't play in the preseason or anything like that, or training camp for that matter. So they're going through a lot. They should have won, but the Vikings had a great performance. The Vikings defense is really good under Buffalo, but they're still a top 12 team in my opinion. 49ers at 11. At 10, I got the Green Bay Packers. 18th last week. I am so impressed that they won this football game the way that they did. Shout out to Matt LaFleur, who I think is one of the top 10 coaches in the NFL right now. 264 rushing yards against a team that most likely knew that you had to run a lot going into it. Absolutely great. And really, really happy with their performance and really happy with the defense, too. Xavier McKinney is a dog, Packers fans. Xavier McKinney is a dog. I am way more sad to see him go than Saquon, and I maintain that. Seeing him make plays for y'all makes me sad. At 9, the Lions. They were 7th last week. They're 9 now, and that's because they still did some things well. Aiden Hutchinson had 5.5 sacks. Their run game just got stopped. Tampa made Goff throw the ball 55 times. That was never going to win a game if Goff has to throw that many times. No offense to Jared. But, yeah, the Lions are still a great team. They're still doing things well. Their defense is still encouraging, which is why they did not have a lower drop after that loss. But Tampa Bay did a great job. At 8, got the Chargers. They were 12th last week. They are 8th now. The Jim Harbaugh effect has already taken effect, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Herbert looks more confident. He's becoming a more vocal leader. That's what Harbaugh does. They're running the ball well. That's what Greg Roman does. Defense is smacking people. Now it is the Panthers, but the defense is still, doing great things. They'll have their first real test next week, in my opinion. They've played Bo Nix and Bryce Young so far, so they'll have their first real test next week. That should be a good game. But really impressed with how quickly things have started to turn around, just the vibes-wise, in the Chargers locker room. At 7, the Seattle Seahawks. They were 13th last week. I'm impressed. Mike McDonald 2-0. Geno Smith is cooking. He's been one of the best quarterbacks so far, one of the most efficient quarterbacks so far. The run game took a hit with Kenneth Walker out. Hopefully he can come back healthy for my fantasy team and the Seahawks themselves. But just 2 really good, encouraging, tough, gritty performances from Seattle. At 6, the Houston Texans. They were 8th last week. Their defense can be so good. One of my bold predictions: I said they would have a top 5 offense, top 5 defense. Offensively, Diggs, Mixon, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. You have so many weapons. Dalton Schultz. It's just, the offensively they're stacked. Defensively, they are balling out. Now the Chicago offensive line, like I said, did no favors to Caleb Williams, but the Texans are still the Texans. I think this is going to be a good team for years to come. At 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They were 11th last week. Baker Mayfield is playing with confidence. Baker Mayfield is playing on a good team with a decent offensive line, a strong weapons crop, and a good defense. In Cleveland or Carolina, if Baker Mayfield got sacked 5.5 times by the same person, so that's 6 sacks total. If Baker Mayfield got sacked 6 times, he was imploding. It's not happening now. He's playing confident. He's with his guy, Liam Cohen. He looks great. The defense did a great job against the Detroit run game. It was awesome to watch. Probably one of the best performances against Detroit run stuffing-wise that we've seen. Great win from them. At 4, Kansas City Chiefs. They win again. They do the little things right. They don't take dumb penalties. They don't have, that pass interference call was the right call. I will reiterate that again. But they just don't take dumb penalties. They do the right things really well. And they make the other team make a mistake before they do in the game when you're exhausted. And that's the Andy Reid way. That's why they do that long drive drill in the training camp. It shows. This is why they play training camp. Because, when the other teams haven't played at all, Lamar and Burrow did not play in the preseason. You can see that show off. And that's the difference in a win and a loss. Because that's 2 really close games. 3, the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold's cooking. The defense is looking great. Justin Jefferson is back. This team is rolling right now, and it's awesome to see. Sam Darnold, what a guy. Kevin O'Connell, once again, another guy that I think we need to talk about more as being a great, great, great head coach. At 2, the Buffalo Bills. They were 5th last week. It is scary how little Josh Allen has to do for this offense to be humming. Given how capable he is of being Superman. Right now, he's out there looking like Aquaman. And they're still crushing people offensively. And the defense, week 1 left a lot to be desired defensively. Week 2, they showed up. They knew exactly, it's a division game. They're familiar with what the Dolphins are going to do. But they showed up and they showed out defensively. Even with all the changes, everything. Von Miller looks healthy as hell, which is a scary development for everybody else in that division and that conference. The Bills are looking great. And at number 1, the New Orleans Saints. I had someone in my comment section say, "Oh, the Saints do this every year. They'll beat up on a bad team, and then crumble from there. It sucks," which I understand. However, this Saints offense is off to one of the best offensive starts in NFL history. They are comparable with the 2007 Patriots with how well they're scoring. Derek Carr scored a touchdown in his first 15 drives of this season. Clint Kubiak has changed this offense. Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Kamara, absolutely balling. And that defense had Dak Prescott in hell. What a performance from the New Orleans Saints. Number 1 team, 2 weeks in a row. Let's go. Let's see if they can keep this up next week. Because I do believe that they play the Philadelphia Eagles. We're in for a phenomenal, phenomenal game. I cannot wait. Thank you guys for watching these power rankings. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.